going to be reading A Big Ship at the End of the World, at the Edge of the Universe.
A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe.
Hi everyone, my name is Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, and it is time for my July TBR. And with my TBR, I play my TBR game, Timmies TBR. It's based off my love of Tim Hortons coffee, and last month it was very, very mean to me. It gave me so many books. And I read a lot of them. I did a pretty good job of getting through this, especially considering it was the Amazing Readathon and I had very little control of what I was able to read because I was having to follow the city prompts. Normally, I would roll over everything that I didn't get to. But I was talking to my patrons and talking to some of my friends, and we figured that since it's July is Canada Day, and since my game is based off Tim Hortons, and Tim Hortons is innately Canadian, I should be able to clear the board and start afresh and anew for July, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I have no rollovers from last month. There are a couple of reads that were on the TBR that were for video projects, so I will technically be reading those, but they are not going to be on the official TBR. So with that being said, let's dive into July's rolls for Timmy's TBR and see if it's still going to be mean to me or if it's going to be nice. I think it should be nice because it was very mean last month. But we'll see. Let's jump to the rolls. Roll number 1 is an 8. A donut space. Big in the title. So for our first roll, we got a big roll of an 8 and landed on a donut space and got big in the title. For this, I'm going to be reading A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe by Alex White. This book's been on my TBR for quite some time, so I'm excited to dive in and read a little bit more sci-fi. I guess I did not get enough during TAR, and I'm excited to continue my year of sci-fi into July. So for this book, I normally will give you like a synopsis based off what's on the back, but I think the back tells it pretty succinctly, so I'm going to just read what it says. It says, a washed-up treasure hunter, a hotshot racer, and a deadly secret society. We all know I love a secret society book. They're all in a race against time to hunt down the greatest warship ever built. Some think the ship is lost forever, some think it's been destroyed, and some think it's only a legend, but one thing's for certain, whoever finds it will hold the fate of the universe in their hands. And treasure that valuable can never stay hidden for long. We've also decided to do this as a little impromptu buddy read over on my patrons, so I'm excited to read this all together and dive into this book that has been on my TBR for a while. Also, look how floppy it is. There is literally nothing better than a floppy paperback. Roll number 2 is a 6. A coffee space. A cozy mystery. So for our second roll, we got a coffee space in the prompt of cozy mystery. I'm actually going to be reading one that I rediscovered on my shelves really recently when I did a scavenger hunt to pick my next read. This is a book that I used to get to that final read, and I actually forgot that I owned it. And it is To Fudge or Not to Fudge by Nancy Coco. This is also perfect because I need to read a book with a recipe inside of it, and this does have recipes for the summer reading challenge. So this is going to work out for a couple of good things. So Allie is a confectioner who sells fudge, makes sense with the title, and is taking her dog for a walk one day when her dog finds a bone underneath like a flower bush. This bone leads to a missing body, and Allie decides to take over the investigation and figure out what happened to this person that her and her dog discovered. Roll number 3 is a 9. A Timbit space. Book for a video project. This is always a great one to get. So for our next roll, we got another large roll. We're really getting around the board this time. And we got a Timbit space and a book for a video project. I always have books I need to read for projects, so that was pretty easy to fill. For this prompt, I'm going to be doing Elevator Pitch by Linwood Barkley. This book was not on my TBR. It is for a upcoming collab video, which I cannot talk about, but I do need to read this book this month anyway. That collab video, I think, is coming out on the 3rd Saturday of the month. Don't quote me on that. I will insert something about it here if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the third Saturday of the month. So this is a thriller, and on Monday, in an office place in New York, 4 people enter an elevator and click the number of the floor they're supposed to get on. Makes sense? Normal day-to-day life. The elevator, instead of going to the floors selected, shoots right up to the top of the building. Then it starts to descend normally. So people thought nothing of it, and then it plummets to the bottom. Obviously, there is some damage that happens to the humans on board. I doubt they survive, but I can't really tell from the synopsis. Most people think this is a tragic accident until it happens again the next day and the next day in different elevators across the city. What is going on? I have no idea, but it sounds terrifying, and I'm very excited to dive into this and see if it's something that I will enjoy. It's definitely not something I would typically pick up, but I'm excited to try it. Roll number 4 is an 8. A series spinner wheel space. So for the next roll, we got a series spinner wheel space, and we spun the wheel and got Virgin River. This is a series that I started reading after watching the Netflix show. I love the Netflix show. The books and the show are not really that similar. There's definitely some similarities, but they're definitely quite different as well. And I am currently needing to read book 5. I did not own this, so I grabbed it from my library, and I will be reading that in the month of July. Book 5 is Second Chance Pass, and it follows 2 people that we met in a previous book, Vanessa and Paul. These are romances, and they do take place in a very small town, Virgin River, and I really do love this small town, and I do love these romances. And I'm glad that the wheel decided to jump me back into this series. Roll number 5 is a 10 and gets us to the end of the board and a free space. We just got to the end of the board with 5 rolls. I am so glad Timmies was nice to me. I deserved a break after last month. Also, the books that I'm picking, there's not that many long ones. I mean, Elevator Pitch is a little bit long, and so is A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe, but they're not too long. I think they're both under 500 pages. So like, this TBR is not bad. And the last book I'm putting on is not very big either. It's a mandatory read. It's the B&K Book Club. When do I not put the B&K Book Club book on as my free space? I think I've done it all year. The B&K Book Club is a book club that I run with Kelsey, who is my friend here on YouTube and Instagram. The link is always down below to join the Discord and join us reading the book. For the month of July, we are reading This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This book I've talked a lot about recently on my channel. It was in a recent book haul. It was in my summer TBR video. So I have talked about it a ton, so I won't talk about it too much here, but we'll go over it one more time before I end up finishing the book. Lucy every summer goes from Toronto to Prince Edward Island to spend the summer there, and her first summer there, she meets Felix. She instantly has a connection with Felix, but then shortly finds out that he is actually the brother to her best friend and off limits. However, they don't necessarily stay off limits, and every summer when Lucy goes to Prince Edward Island, she sees Felix. Many years later, Brooklyn, her best friend, flees Toronto from her wedding to Prince Edward Island, and all 3 of them end up there for a summer. And I think Lucy has to figure out how to navigate these internal relationships over the summer, and also what happened to her best friend. Will her best friend be upset that she has this kind of side relationship with her brother? Will she pick Felix overall? I don't know. But we're going to read about it in July. So technically that is the end of Timmy's TBR, but there are 2 mandatory reads that did not make it onto the stack, so let's talk about those really fast. Over on the B&K Discord, we are doing a Wheel of Time's read-along, so we will be starting Fires of Heaven in the month of July. This is the 5th book in Wheel of Time. I have had a journey with Wheel of Time. I have had a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star, and last month I had a 2.5 star. So I'm really hoping it picks back up and I enjoy this book so much more than the last one. I've been told by most people that I will, so I'm excited to go back into this series, but I am definitely hesitant to go back into this series. I'm also a co-host for the Chestnut Springs Along. This is a read-along of the Chestnut Springs series. It is created by Claire from Claire's Creative Corner, and it is co-hosted by me and now Brooklyn from Brooklyn Reads. Leandra was the co-host, but Leandra did not love these books as much as Claire is and has decided to step away from the series. So Brooklyn is jumping in and helping us finish it out. I will say, I am not sure how I feel about this series either. I have given that a 3-star, a 5-star for the second book, and the third book I DNF'd. So this book is really going to be the decider of how I feel about this series. It's the penultimate book, and we'll see what I think. It follows Theo in winter. These are characters I have liked in the past, so I'm crossing my fingers that this one works out for me better than the last one too. These last 2 mandatory reads really are following books in the series that were letdowns for me, so they're both kind of here to pull me back in. Hopefully they do that. But that is the TBR stack for the month of July. We have 5 books on the Timmies TBR and 2 mandatory reads, giving us 7 books. Very doable for the month, and only really 1 super chunky book and 2 kind of like medium chunky books. The rest are fairly easy to read. I also have a really good mix of genre here. We have sci-fi, cozy mystery, thriller, 3 romances, and a fantasy. Like, it's a really nice mix of genres to help me not get too stagnant following the Amazing Readathon. I'm definitely happy with this TBR. Please let me know down in the comment box down below what's something you would like to read in July. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!